Hello, I have a book to share. This book is called The Ego Tunnel by Thomas Metzinger. And this is the last book that I bought from the Borders bookstore near me, so it's kind of special. But I don't know. The back says, The Ego Tunnel. In The Ego Tunnel, philosopher and cognitive scientist Thomas Metzinger argues that neuroscience's picture of the self as an emergent phenomenon of our biology, and the attendant fact that the self can be manipulated and even experimentally controlled, raises novel and serious ethical questions. If, as Metzinger contends, our conception of the self is a sort of tunnel vision-like experience of the world, with little left in and much left out, can there be better or worse states of consciousness, and if so, what should we do to try to achieve them? In a time when the science of cognition is becoming as controversial as the science of evolution, the ego tunnel provides a step toward a morally sensitive philosophy of the mind. And I haven't really got very far, but so far it's worth mentioning. I only have gotten that far. But I'll read just some of my favorite stuff. The intro, he talks about, well, the whole thing's kind of about the self, almost. But anyways, he says, it has now become clear that we will never solve the philosophical puzzle of consciousness, that is, how it can arise in the brain, which is a purely physical object, if we don't come to terms with this simple proposition, that to the best of our current knowledge there is no thing, no indivisible entity that is us, neither in the brain nor in some metaphysical realm beyond this world. So when we speak of conscious experience as a subjective phenomenon, what is the entity having these experiences? So, and then he says something really interesting about that everything is not itself, it's just a representation of it's a lower dimensional representation of its higher dimensional substance, because we can not ever perceive reality to its fullest, whatever, because what we see is only what our biology is allowing us to see, hear, feel, whatever. So we are seeing through a tunnel that our human body's ego goes through, sees through. Yeah, he says, while we are, okay, let me see this. Philosophically, this does not yet mean that consciousness can be explained reductively. Indeed, it is not clear what counts as a whole experience. Are experiences discrete, countable entities? However, the flow of experience certainly exists, and cognitive neuroscience has shown that the process of conscious experience is just an idiosyncratic path through a physical reality so unimaginably complex and rich in information that it will always be hard to grasp just how reduced our subjective experience is. While we are drinking in all the colors, sounds, and smells, the diverse range of our emotions and sensory perceptions, it's hard to believe that all of this is merely an internal shadow of something inconceivably richer, but it is. Shadows do not have an independent existence. And the book you are holding right now, that is the unified sensations of its colors, weight, and texture, is just a shadow, a low-dimensional projection of a higher-dimensional object out there. It is an image, a representation that can be described as a region in your neural state space. This state space itself may well have millions of dimensions. Nevertheless, the physical reality you navigate with its help has an inconceivably higher number of dimensions. And then after that he mentions the shadow story, the people, what is it, Plato's Republic, and the people who live in a cave and all they see is shadows. of themselves and things in the cave, and they don't see themselves or the actual objects that are making the shadows, so they think that the shadows are actual objects. So basically he's saying that everything we see are just shadows of something bigger that we just can't perceive because our biology doesn't allow it or something. So anyways, he also mentions stuff about like OBEs and how that occurs in the brain and how we feel this sort of like as if we're outside of ourselves, but how it shows up in like a brain scan or whatever, and what's really happening. And he also talks about phantom limbs, like phantom sensations and stuff. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to share. So thanks for watching, and check it out if you like this kind of stuff. This is really cool.